So today we're going to look at Terraform and the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Terraform provider. So this is one of the most exciting things in the DevOps world at the moment. So you've probably heard of CloudFormation, which is the YAML-based markup language for AWS infrastructure automation. So Terraform, and you have others such as Ansible, Chef, and loads more, but Terraform is one that Oracle are really backing at the moment and opened up all of their services for. So that is what we're going to do today. We're just going to install Terraform properly for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. There hasn't been too many tutorials on this, and any tutorial that I have seen, that we've all been using scripts, and it doesn't really show how to do it fully. So that's what I want to do today. So you can install this on Windows, or if you have the Ubuntu subsystem or Git Bash, but what I typically like to do is I like to do all my development work on the cloud, and then just create custom images and version control from that way, and use all the OCI features. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to install the CLI. This is something that I've done once in one of my other videos, but it's quite important. It just generates some keys for us automatically, which I want to use. So it's really good that way. Just as a note, this can be quite hard to install on Windows, like a lot of things. So that's one of the reasons why I like to just use it on Oracle Linux or any Linux distribution. So when you just download the script, there's a lot of pre-built packages. Python is one of the main ones. So just make sure when you see this to hit yes to include this in your path, so that way you can run the OCI CLI from anywhere. And then just run OCI Setup config for a kind of an automated way to do this. One thing that I always do talk about is the authentication of yourself against OCI. It can be quite tough at times. We ask for a lot of information for you to execute any API calls. From working on AWS, you can just have programmatic access or console access, and you just generate an access key and secret access key to use CLI and other tools like that. You can see here in Oracle, it's maybe 5 pieces of information that we ask for, so it is highly secure. I'm just going to hit yes to generate a new RSA key pair. You have to upload your public key into Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and make sure the fingerprints match. So you can see the generated fingerprint there. I'm just going to navigate to that folder, and then I'm going to upload that public key into the Oracle Cloud Identity and Access Management Service. Just one other note that I want to add is, if you do have Active Directory on premise, you can also use that as an authentication method against Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, along with Oracle Identity Cloud Service. So I'm just going to add that public key to my user in Oracle Cloud, and then the fingerprints should match. If they don't match, you know you have a problem, and you should really just create a new key pair. Always do your best to keep these keys safe. We do have another way in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. If we never ever want anybody to store their keys in code or on compute instances. This should all be done using something called dynamic groups. So it's a way for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure resources to communicate securely with each other. We don't really like having keys, similar to roles in AWS, but that's on a side note. So I'm just going to clear my screen here, and I'm just going to go into so this is where we see a lot of scripts being used to install Terraform. So I'm just going to do it from the beginning. So that's just on the Terraform website. So I'm just going to use, I want to go to, I want to get out of that hidden directory and just make my own directory for the Terraform install. So this tool is really good. I'm really excited just to get this out to you guys. So I'm just going to hit wget and that Terraform Linux link. Apologies. So hopefully that installs. Yeah, so what we have to do now is just unzip that, and you may get an error when you try to run Terraform, but that's because you have to put it into your bin directory to make it executable. So you'll see that here in a sec. So just move it to that file location, So you will have that. Just make sure you mooch that Terraform binary or executable to that directory. So I'm just going to hit Terraform version. So it is installed now at the moment, so you can execute it like the OCI CLI from anywhere in your instance. So I'm just going to do a little bit of cleaning up here, just get rid of that zip file. This is why I like to do my development on VMs, just keep it really clean. So on GitHub, you can see this Terraform provider. So what we're going to do is we're just going to clone that onto the desktop, onto the VM, sorry. And you can read through all these details here if you want to build the provider yourself and make any changes. But I'm just going to go really straight through here now, because I want everybody to be able to do this following along the video, and I'll include these links in the description below. So just yeah, so I don't have Git installed. I thought that usually comes installed with Oracle Linux. So just add that download, and that should be pretty quick. One great thing about Oracle is that we have a lot of pre-built infrastructure, virtual cloud networks for high availability with private subnets, and we reference all of these in Terraform, so really open, so you can use Terraform against any cloud provider. But I'm really happy with the effort Oracle have put into developing Terraform scripts for OCI. So I'm just going to go in there. So I have all of the files from GitHub, and where we need to go is into docs and into examples. So we have that there now, and there's lots and lots of examples. One example that I'm going to do in another tutorial is the, so if I'll just go into examples here, is the compute example. So we can see it here under compute and instances. But today we're just going to do load balancer, because it executes fully straight away, which is really good. So I would invite you, we're going to go through the script in detail in another video, but I just want to get everybody set up here today. Just make sure to check the README file, because there is some important stuff there. Okay, so just going to go back to docs and into examples. Actually, what I will do, I just want to show one thing on the Oracle Cloud technical white papers before we do anything. And this is the example that I'll do in the next video. But this one is really good, just to break up all your files. So this is the variables file. So this is where you provide your authentication details in the Terraform, in one of the Terraform files. So I have mine pre-built here at the moment with all of my user OCIDs, tenancy OCIDs. And if you go back to your hidden .oci file created by the CLI, you can get that there, and there's a lot of pre-built information that you built without even knowing. So I just want to show this networking high availability on Oracle Cloud. We're going to create something like this all the way through code here today. So typically you could do this through the console, or imagine doing it on premise. It can be really tough. But all of these Terraform scripts have been pre-built, and you can just modify them. So what we're going to create today is a load balancer, a highly available load balancer with one public IP address. And we have a backend set. So a backend set is where you place your web servers or app servers. Similar to AWS in their application load balancer, you can add target instances, and all the end user sees is the DNS name or the public IP. So I'm just going to go up into one of those there now. Yeah, so I'm just going to go into the highly available technical white paper. These technical white papers, if you are doing the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Associate exam, these are really essential to know. So that's just these are a few high-level diagrams of what's going to be built today. Instead of three web servers in our backend set, we're just going to have 2. But all you really need to do is just add another variable for this script to work with 3 instances. So I'm going to go back to my command line now at the moment. So as you saw, we were in GitHub, so I'm just going to go into the load balancer and LB full. Just going to go in there, and you can have a look at the script if you want, but I'm just going to create my vars file with my authentication details against Oracle Cloud, which I showed you earlier on. So you can always keep this information safe. So I'm going to delete all of this after this lecture and tutorial, but this is just an overview of how to do it. First thing you need to do is Terraform init, and that is to initialize the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure provider in your directory. The best thing about Terraform is when you provision instances or infrastructure, Terraform sorry, I have an error here, so I'm not authenticated, so let me see just 1 second. Yep, so I just had one, I didn't have in my vars file, so I just did it offline there. I didn't point to my RSA key in the .oci directory, so I'll have that in the description as well. So make sure you source your vars file before hitting Terraform plan. So that just means in your LB load balancer full.tf file, it's going to reference all of your environment variable files. So you can see here I hit Terraform plan, so this is showing everything that's going to be created by the script. Really, really good. One of the best things that you can do with Terraform is you can version control. So if you hit Terraform plan .out or /out, and then give your plan a name, plan1. So it's something that I'll show here is you can pretty much version all of your plans. So you can have a plan for maybe if you work for a supermarket or whatever, and you're going to be anticipating loads of traffic on your servers at one in a certain day, you can just apply that plan. So you can see I'm doing it here, Terraform plan out plan1. So that's my plan saved. One thing I'll do now is I'll just cat that just to show you. Actually no, I'll hit Terraform apply. So Terraform apply. This means everything in that plan that was in your plan 1 is going to be executed against Oracle Cloud or any other cloud provider that you're working with. So what is actually being built here, and you can look at the script yourself. With everything in Oracle Cloud, you cannot provision anything unless you have a virtual cloud network. The largest size network that you can create is a CIDR block of 16. So a subnet mask of 255.255, and it'll give you about 65,000 IP addresses. You can create multiple virtual cloud networks, but as you can see here, what's being created, there's been 2 subnets created for my load balancer, and in my virtual cloud network is also spanning 3 availability domains, which are 3 distinct data centers. I'm in the Frankfurt region at the moment, so each availability domain, similar to AWS availability zones, is a logically isolated area about 70 miles away from each other in the case of disaster. The Oracle Cloud has built a very high bandwidth backbone that connects each data center. So with a load balancer, it's a public IP address, but what's actually assigned to it is 2 private IP addresses, each in one private IP in availability domain 1 and another in 82. So with that, if there is a disaster, your IP address will maintain its state, but it will have a different private IP. So I'm just going to go through the script on GitHub here at the moment. So you can see everything that's there at the moment. So it's written, the Terraform is written in Go. It looks quite similar to JSON. So it's very, very similar to that. But imagine how long this would take you if you were to do this from scratch. So this is quite a big infrastructure. So there's a lot of networks being created. But you can see here, I have 2 subnets there. And in so just an example rule says what you can put in, if you want to use x-forwarded headers to get the client IP that's incoming before it hits the load balancer and pass it on to your backend servers. That's something that we'll explore later on. But your backend set is where you place your target servers. So you see the script hasn't got that far yet. So it's just created a load balancer. So we can see in the script there, now it's beginning to create my instances. So obviously physical hardware is going to take longer to create than virtual networks. So my 2 instances are being created here. And one also thing, oh sorry, so my IP is just spat out there at the moment. You also have to create a listener for your IP, for your load balancer, apologies. That can be in TCP, HTTP, and Oracle is adding loads more to that list. So my backend service should be there, will register as healthy when the listener finds my health check, and that's defined in my var www html folder on my web server. So when it finds that file, it's just a HTML file. When it finds it, it will mark the two instances as healthy. So here you see my two web servers, each with a private IP address, and that is what the load balancer registers in its backend set. So I'm just going to plot in the public load balancer IP address. So you see here it's working. So I'm just going to refresh that page depending on what policy I have. So you can see it looks like least connections. Oh, sorry, not least connections, round robin, public load balancer policy. So you can use round robin, IP hash, least connections, and a few more other load balancing protocols. Oracle just recently announced traffic management steering policies with our edge services. It's something that we'll look at later on. So I just showed out, just hit cat the current state of my environment, so it spits back a JSON description of my infrastructure. Really, really interesting to have your whole entire infrastructure in JSON code that's just brought back out by Terraform. So I just said Terraform destroy. If I hit Terraform destroy, there's going to be 19 resources destroyed. Really, really good. Like you can, once again, if you want to hit Terraform plan destroy, you can save that destroy plan, or else you can just destroy like I'm going to do here. So this is absolutely great for test and development. So I'm just going to rip down my entire infrastructure at the moment. My highly available load balancers with two web servers, each with two private IPs. I'm going to take everything down. So probably the biggest thing with Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, you only pay for what you use, and it's really good. So you have two consumption models, pay as you go or monthly flex. Obviously things like this, pay as you go, is really, really attractive. You can just test this stuff out to see how good it is. So that load balancer is going to be taken down very quickly. It will just take a sec, so I'm just going to reload that. In my next video, I'm going to go through the actual Terraform files. I just wanted to get this up and running so you could do the exact same thing. It'd be a great thing to show your teammates or whoever you're working with what's actually capable of doing with DevOps tools and public cloud providers such as Oracle. So this is going to keep destroying my infrastructure. One other thing that I do want to show just while this is happening is well, not show but more talk about it, is the security of Oracle Cloud. We place a heavy emphasis on authentication against the Oracle Cloud, but also our edge services. So I'm going to show it in a later stage, our web application firewalls and edge security. So like Oracle really has built their cloud up from the ground up. So this is their second time at building the infrastructure, and they've made a lot of positive moves here, even with the power of the infrastructure. But I think security is the biggest thing, and obviously the database. So I haven't even touched on our data management solutions. So even with this load balancer, it's just 100 megabits per second load balancer. You can use 100 megabits, 400 megabits, or 8,000 megabits per second. So you can support many connections. So my instances should be taken down. They're still terminating. And as you can see here, Terraform demo, the instance that is running, that's actually the instance where I'm logged into at the moment. So it's all cloud here. So no emphasis on my on-premise or on my laptop here, just doing everything by cloud. So this is the tutorial that I'm going to do in my next video. The instances or the Terraform files are really well broken up, but I'm going to add and change to them and show you how you can really do that and build the infrastructure that you actually want. Okay, so there's my instance has been taken down. I was going to pause this video and wait for everything to destroy, but I may as well just wait because it seems to be almost done. Yeah, it's done here now. 19 resources being destroyed. Even if you can think of them off the top of your head, the network, the instances, the VNICs, the IP addresses, the storage, everything is just gone. So if I once again just look at my Terraform state file, so this is the representation of your infrastructure at the moment. That Terraform controls, everything is gone. And that, like, really interesting, and all I can say is just thank you, and I hope you get this lab up and working. Just a way to go from the ground up with Terraform, the installation and provisioning. So thank you.